Mr. North, my senior senator, Senator Feinstein, has called EB-5 selling citizenship. Some might say renting for citizenship. But is there any reason to say that if this is a good program, we should cap it at 10,000? If we're going to sell citizenship and earn $1.5 billion a year of loaned money for a total of about $7.5 billion in investment in this $19 trillion economy, we have 1.2 million people who receive green cards. Why not sell them all? Why not make it 100,000 and be getting $15 billion a year if it's a good thing? So the question is, are we selling citizenship?
Well, first of all, to be narrow, we're selling green cards rather than citizenship.
Yeah, green cards lead to the ability to have citizenship.
I understand that.
So we're selling the ability to permanently be here. Maybe I'll phrase it to you another way. Why is it we sell for a temporary loan, a temporary investment, a permanent right to be here? Why wouldn't we have temporary visas for temporary investment?
I don't think renting or selling visas is a good idea. I think it's amoral, if not immoral. I would be opposed to it, and that's our basic position.
Okay, well, it's not my basic position, but I could get there if we can't reform it. Mr. Walz, regional centers, by definition, by testimony, essentially are part of giving us, whether gerrymandered or not, virtually 100% of the investments are made at $500,000 per investor. That's right. So if we assume for a moment, under current rules, we'll forget about whether they're gerrymandered or not, that all the investment is going to underserved areas, why wouldn't we simply eliminate any investment except in underserved areas? In other words, since desirable areas shouldn't have a problem getting money, and I would say that Beverly Hills is pretty desirable, but assuming that we're only talking undesirable, for such a small program that is so oversubscribed, why wouldn't we go to 1.8 or 2 million per investment and have them only in underserved areas? Why would we have two tiers at all? Why wouldn't we just mandate that the only way you get in and get what Mr. North and I might consider to be selling residency, why wouldn't we require that you invest in underserved areas?
Well, I think there's two questions there. One, what's the dollar amount? And I actually agree with the industry and Ms. Bruner that, I think there needs to be additional conversation as to what the true market for what we should charge those. So setting that aside.
But the true market is a lot higher than we're currently charging.
Absolutely.
The oversubscription tells us that.
We agree that. I agree. It's just what that number is. As far as, that again, you go to congressional intent. What do you want this program to do? Clearly, it appears to me that the intent was to, this two-tiered of, hey, if it's a good project and creates jobs, regardless where it is, we're prepared to accept that. But, there's less risk there, real or perceived. And we as a country are prepared to put a certain dollar amount. But if we want to encourage economic development in these areas, we'll give it a break and try to mitigate that risk.
What's interesting is I've looked at the history of it, and of course, two things that were assumed. One is that the investors and the entrepreneurs would come together, that somehow there would be a connection. But in fact, in almost every case, the investor, the green card holder goes one place and the money goes another, and there's no participation almost always. So we failed in that presumption. We also set aside about 3,000 of 10,000 slots for underserved. That was to assume that it would still be hard to get them into underserved.
Correct.
So if eventually we live up to what Senator Grassley and the chairman have been working on so long and hard with members on the other side also, maybe what we need is a set-aside without a discount, because ultimately then you would get that amount in underserved areas, and you could be stringent about it, but you wouldn't necessarily be selling anything for less, because right now the incentive has been get to the lower price, but the incentive does not seem to be get to the true underserved area. Ms. Brunner, you're shaking your head in a way that I really want to know your answer. Ms. Bruner.
Thank you, Congressman. I'm extremely in favor of a single price, because I don't think that it's fair that if you are designated a set-aside area, a distressed area or a rural area, that means then that you have to compromise and receive less capital.
If I may,
go ahead,
just
please.
to answer the question is why. I just respectfully, if you're going to drive, again, the intent behind it was those underserved areas have challenges. Congress deals with those challenges in a number of new market tax credits, how would USDA guarantees, in my area, Delta Regional Authority. Saying there's one tier, and the set aside is a short-term answer to that, but from involvement in the market, without a true meaningful difference in that, you're not going to ultimately accomplish what you say you want.
Let me just ask a closing question for the entire panel, and with your indulgence, Chairman. Is it fair to say that if we were doing an overhaul today, and if we set the price where we knew 10,000 slots and all 10,000 would be sold, whatever that price is it fair to say that when we look at original intent and the best and highest use for this investment, that really all of it should go to underserved areas? Whatever that definition is, and we don't think it's Manhattan or Beverly Hills, but just a general yes, would you say that if we were starting over from scratch and assuming we're not killing the program, we're setting at a price at some level, and because so many agree to a single rate, isn't the best part of what this program could do is get investment where it otherwise wouldn't go, which is underserved areas? Please, if I could just go to get a yes or no from each of you.
I would say yes. Yes.
I would also say yes.
I would say yes, but the goal is to create the highest wage living wage jobs.
Good point.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll quit on yes.